about something that you and I speak about a lot anyway, because we both do the personal training thing. And when you're a personal trainer, when you work at a gym, you get a lot of questions about diet and nutrition, which is understandable because there is so much misinformation out there. Let me say, I hate the food industry in this country. I despise them, not because this industry sells food that are unhealthy. That's not my problem. If you want to open up a store and sell, I don't know, fried chocolate cake and cigarettes and beer.
Good for you.
Fine, I don't care, but just be forthright, be honest about what you're selling. I take issue with the fact that not only does the food industry, I'm speaking in broad terms, but this is just generally how the industry works. Not only does this industry manufacture and market foods that are terrible for you, not only do they try to downplay the detrimental effects of these foods, they try to pass these foods off as healthy. Like I hate places like Smoothie King is one of my,
it's actually 5,000 calories for
and
one
loaded,
of those things and
absolutely just loaded with sugar. And
something on a side note that I read the other day was that since the introduction of low-fat meals, obesity has quadrupled.
That's the whole low fat is completely the opposite of how you actually should
I think
eat.
people just word association with fat is like I'm fat. When actually fats can be, now that we've got a little smarter, fats can be really good for you, and not only really good for you, essential.
What you need.
Like you need those good fats. Your olive oils, your all the tons of them. Tons of different good fats, but you just
which is actually my meal, like how I eat in general is like fat, a lot of fats, no carbs,
low carbs, lots of fat.
Lots of
I agree.
Anytime I'm cooking anything, butter, that's lots of butter, lots of cheese all the time. Because it's not, as long as it's organic and comes from a decent source. It's not bad for you. You need fat.
You have to have it.
Your body burns on, uses fat for energy. It'd be like getting a car and putting oil in it and it's going to turn to gasoline. Then I'm going to be able to drive the car. So it's going to take a while. So just
that's a really good way to think about it. I never thought about it like
eat
that.
fats and your body
because
doesn't
carbs
have
turn to
to
glycogen and then you use that as an energy source, or else you could burn the fat that you eat immediately.
it turns to
But your body will burn the carbohydrate glycogen if you're overstocked on it instead of the fat. Gotcha.
And the problem is everyone, the grain industry is so big in the U.S., which now finally other countries are stopping accepting U.S. grain. Like China's turning it down. A lot of Europe's turning it down. It's modified. And that it's pretty well known throughout the scientific community that any modified food is bad for the human body.
Oh, human beings do not need whole grains. And of course we were all taught that as kids. We had the food pyramid.
Which is a big scam.
Which is interesting because if you look at what's on the food pyramid, it's basically all agriculture products that are heavily subsidized, that spend a lot of money on lobbying. So there's a lot of political reasons that we Americans kind of believe that certain foods. And I have to have these conversations with people like just every single week. It almost gets a little bit frustrating. What are a lot of misconceptions you think people have? What are the most common mistakes you think people make? Especially because when people come into the gym generally, what are usually their goals? What do they have on? And we probably hear the same things.
The general is losing weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And the problem is they've been told for so long by the food pyramid, and you can tell the two main things is meat. You need a lot of meat. You need a lot of grain, and then a little bit of vegetables on it. But the reason is the two companies that put all the money into the research for that food pyramid were the grain industries and beef industries. So that's what everyone was taught in school. No, this is what you need: a lot of grain and a lot of beef. So people have been eating that so long. Same thing as anything else. People hear different, change. They're like, no. You can't eat that way. That's not what I was told growing up.
It was just difficult to break habits in general. Now, speaking of the politics of food, and I've seen this on some of your Facebook posts. This is a real issue for you. You have an ongoing beef, I'll say it, with the Monsanto corporation.
That's just that's a whole movie bad guy scenario kind of thing.
Now for those anybody watching, first of all, what is Monsanto? Just basically,
they're a huge. Well, they're most people know what they do now is a lot of like Roundup. They make Roundup. They make herbicides, pesticides, and insecticides, and they also genetically modify foods. They just got into like genetically modifying salmon now, which they're salmon that in 3 months' time, when a salmon should be this big, they're like this big. So you make more money. It's just it's a market thing.
Yeah, but in general, like they can really do to a great degree control like the food supply.
Well, that's
which
most
huge.
of like if you cut GMOs out of grocery stores, like it's something like 60-something% of most, like Walmart, their grocery store, everything would be gone.
Yeah.
Because it's in everything. It's corn, which corn's used for the sugar and everything. It's used for grain and everything. So corn's big, wheat's big, all that stuff's modified now. It's been broken, altered in a genetic level to most of it's to take more herbicide or pesticide, so they can just dump this on the crops, kill everything else, no bugs. But it's poison technically.
Yeah. Do you think all just genetically modifying fruits or vegetables in general is always bad though? Because to some degree, I mean, we scientists make those changes so that we can produce more food at a more. I think there is something to be said for the science of agriculture.
The problem with that is it doesn't yield more crop.
Really?
No. That's the only people that say it yields more crops are the scientists that are the same scientists that are making it. Of course they're gonna say, no, this is good shit, obviously. I just made it. So it's a profit margin thing. So they've gotta say that there's no research against it. Even though it's kinda like the global warming. Like the people that have an interest in saying there is no global warming are all saying, all my science says there's no global warming, even though they're not paying attention to the other 95% of scientists that are saying, no, genetically altered food is really bad for you. It affects humans on a genetic level, so it is a bad thing.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the what's called the Terminator genes?
Yes. The suicide genes. And
tell us about that, and tell us the problem you have with it. Because and by the way, a lot of people have no idea what we're talking about.
What they do is they make for the grain, the seeds don't reproduce. So once a crop's done, you have to buy a new batch of seeds from the company. With those seeds, you can grow, spray, all the insecticides, herbicides, everything. So you supposedly up your crop. Next crop, everything fails. So you're continuing to have to buy seeds from them. Another problem with this is if it pollinates other fields, it will end up destroying those crops also. So it ends up, and even crazier, Monsanto crops, there's cases all over the place where a crop will infect and pollinate another wheat field. That wheat field is now technically it's got the same genetically modified wheat. So Monsanto will come in, or whatever company will come in and sue this farmer for selling their patented crops. And they win and shut down that farm and spread their farm over to that area.
Maybe one of the just inherent kind of dangers of using technology to kind of enhance foods or produce more foods is that although, of course, we have food in great abundance, we human beings have access to certain substances, certain chemicals that we never would have been able to consume maybe before we had this technology. Things like sugar, which is usually very, very difficult to get at. For a long time, sugar was actually, even when refined sugar was available, for a long time it was like a commodity. It was a spice. It was actually kind of rare. And now it's in everything.
And
because we refine it. Bread or grains.
Look at the ingredients to anything. It's like, why is there sugar in this? It's not even sweet.
It's grains because it makes it taste good, and it's also addictive, which is very, very nice. So, moving on to another area where I think that technology is kind of ruining things for human beings. We were discussing this yesterday, post-workout. Okay. Let's talk about the technology as far as sex goes, as far as things like pornography, which is going to a whole different level. About how technology can be helpful, can create more convenience, but also causes problems. Do you guys remember the movie Demolition Man? I think you used this example. and describe the sex scene in Demolition Man, because your memory is fresher as far as this goes.
I haven't watched it recently, but I'm pretty sure that they like put these helmets on and like stood in front of each other and on like almost touch.
Right.
And like I think like thought patterns of like sex would like run through, but that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
There's no actual physical
there's
contact.
no penis and vagina.
No, there's no human contact.
The essential
there.
parts to what I always thought was sex.
I feel like that's becoming more of a reality. Who would have known that Demolition Man was like very, very prophetic?
Yeah, but
Right,
back to sci-fi being almost predicting the future.
Right, because how many guys now are like, actually even going to bars to pick up girls when they can just,
I know.
Brazzers,
Yeah. I'll just watch other people have sex. It's way less stress in my life.
I think honestly, I think the problem is just laziness. Because seriously, you're a regular single guy in his early 20s or mid 30s or whatever. It's the end of a Friday. You've been at work. You're tired. You could go out and maybe you have females you can speak with. Maybe you have people you can interact with, or you can just stay at home and watch some porn and then go to bed. It's convenience, and just like with food, when it becomes more convenient, people get lazy, and maybe we lose something kind of important there.
Good point.
Now, internet porn is just the beginning. So, I looked up a study that was done in England by a university. Oh, I forgot the university, but you guys can Google this up and fact check me. And they surveyed, the people doing the study at this school, surveyed thousands of people, and 1 in 5 said they were okay with the idea of having sex with a robot. 1 in 5.
1 in 5. 1 in 5. That's pretty strong.
1 in 5.
Would it be
What
considered
does this
cheating?
robot look like?
See, that was not clear, but they just asked him, I think, in a very, very vague. I assume.
Optimus Prime?
See, I'm not fucking Optimus Prime.
No,
No.
not my type,
I got
honestly.
too much respect for the man.
But like, what? What
Optimus Prime.
but I don't know. Did y'all see that terrible Terminator 3 movie?
I did.
Okay, but
That robot
there
was
like,
hot,
There was a
yeah.
hot girl
Yeah,
Terminator
See?
with liquid metal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Liquid hot magma.
You can do
Yeah, like-
you go to different places there.
So like that's a vague thing, like
It is,
Well,
man.
okay, we were talking about having sex with a robot, like
Yeah.
masturbation in front of a computer. How far
Right.
off is that from having sex with a robot?
That with technology, that could be 10 years away when you're like, and then your computer shames you like, really, Josh? Really?
all you
Feel
got?
proud of yourself right
I can't even finish now, computer. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so about 20. Here's the point I want to throw out there. About 20% of people admitted they would have sex with a robot. My hypothesis is that under the right circumstances, most guys would bang a robot at some point. Not right away, but let's just say, okay, imagine you're in like a sci-fi movie type position where you're in like a, I don't know.
Boobs.
Well, no, you're in a colony on like planet Mars, and nobody's around, but you have a female robot, a very human-looking robot assistant who has to do whatever you tell it. Give it a few months.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a comedy
just throwing
bit.
that out
There was a
there.
comedy bit
Really?
done by Joe Rogan,
Uh-huh.
and that sums this up. Where he
Really?
says like, basically like, if
hole
you
in your
put random holes all over the walls in his house that were like they're warm
Yeah.
and they were nice and they
yeah.
were really soft, like enough time, he's definitely
Yeah.
gonna fuck it. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna fuck his house.
Well,
Like
yeah.
eventually, like it's going to happen. You're gonna come home. You're gonna be drunk.
And that would happen with the robot, yeah.
Right. I mean, if it's there.
And most guys would be egotistical, like, oh, well, if it's a hot, like, Jessica Alba-looking robot, you know what?
That, yeah.
Wait long enough. It's 2:30 in the morning.
You'll
on
get
a
Rosie from the
Saturday.
Jetsons.
Yeah, you're like, whatever.
You would take an average robot and just like put her at a decent angle, and
Yeah. And
it would happen, man.
realistically, I would
was
to
being a
bet that
realist.
same 1 in 5% have also stuck their dick in a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, you never tried it? Yeah.
I'm afraid. I don't quite have the girth to handle a vacuum.
Oh,
no, I don't clean my room.
I would just shit.
No, I'll tell you later. There's a thing with it now. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm funny you mentioned that, man. So I did a little research.
Oh, did you now?
Only
did.
1 in 7 people will fuck a vacuum
And I'll
cleaner.
tell you how I did research. I got on Google and I did a search for sex with robots, and I was a little nervous before I hit the search key because, my God, what's going to come up? And I'm going
Right back to
nightmares. Yeah, I made sure not to go to the images. I did not click the image thing on Google's because that would have given me nightmares. But there's a Japanese company called Tenga that has designed, okay, it's an apparatus for like masturbation is not the word, because it actually gets you off. And you put on virtual reality goggles, and you put on something set up kind of like a tripod with a little mechanism that goes over your dick, and as you engage in this virtual reality sex simulation, just like that. Tango, look it up, man. I know you will Google this when your wife's not around.
But that
Google
brings it up to way too much work. Like that's a
I
lot.
know.
Like you got like glasses and you got to.
Yeah, it almost comes like a date, really. It's like,
Masturbation's like a 2-minute thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason to. I've got shit to do.
Is it that
today.
much effort?
Why would you waste an hour and a half session?
Yeah.
Like, all right, I got to put these. Now I got to sit in this chair and put my feet in this and.
Oh, and there actually was a
it's a
picture
lot
of a
of
dude like hooked up to it, like with the goggles and the thing over his.
You told me about the German rape machine.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He was
It was
telling
in
about
an
this.
old Japan anime called La Blue Girl. There's like 50 of them, and it's all like demons with like multi cocks. But there was the German rape machine. And there was this like just big. I don't know what they were doing with it. I don't remember, but there was a whole bunch of girls set up in these like fucking machines, and then like the automated rape machines. And I don't know why I don't know if they were like stealing life force or whatever, but
Germany.
It
This
was Japanese people who were like the
it was Japanese
Asian Germans.
Oh, I'm
really.
sorry. What I just said was racist. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Man.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
From the same people who brought you tentacle porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The German rape machine.
That was
I've
the same
never
thing
understood
though.
that, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all like demons and mad scientists just figuring out how to rape people, I guess, because that's what Japanese people are
Like
into.
That's a big
raping
deal.
one person at a time is just not enough.
Oh, we get it more efficiently
Yeah.
with it's like the
We can build a
same.
machine.
What the fuck?
More efficiently and like, I don't know, greater fuel efficiency or something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't really know,
Christ.
but
That's how
it's
that works out.
Japanese people, that's what they just like last week outlawed kiddie porn in Japan.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Really? It's
Yeah.
just now.
Just
Like
outlawed.
last week, dude.
But it's
Yeah.
not outlawed to have kiddie porn anime. That's still legal in Japan. Japanese people are crazy. They're insane.
Wow.
Really,
Can it
really
be,
nice
like,
people.
Is
Really.
it a cultural thing? Because we're the same
Yeah,
type
we're
of
the-
animal
Right,
overseas.
we're all humans.
But
just,
it's just how they're.
it's just more not as
yes.
regulated there. Is that?
It's just the.
They need
it's-
Jesus.
Yeah. There you go. Bunch of Buddhists.
See, I wonder if all this virtual sex technology is kind of bad for people, not all people. I don't know, man, because I feel like maybe when you just remove that human experience, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to sound like self-righteous. We've all looked at porn on the internet, okay?
Never me.
Yeah, right. except JC, who's found Jesus since our last
else,
recording. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I think that maybe when you sort of divorce yourself from that human experience, you kind of lose, or you're kind of separated from one of your best traits as a human, which is your need, your like desire to procreate. And I don't mean just necessarily like get laid. I mean the same impulse that compels you to like maybe paint a picture or teach your daughter how to read or do something constructive for society that just basically helps propagate the human species. You kind of remove yourself from that, man. I don't know.
We're social
Maybe you need that.
creatures. That's how we evolved to where we are. Is we need social hierarchy. That's why we have personality. If you have the comedy or whatever, all these help your social status, put you higher in the social hierarchy.
Right.
Which means you get more select over women. That's the same way that happens in every other branch of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Humans, for some reason, just think that like. That's not why we do it.
No.
We do it because we're,
We have grandiose ideas about ourselves.
If you give a monkey a brain, or a consciousness, it'll swear it's the center of the universe, and that's where humans are. We've got like a evolved conscious, so we think like no, the entire universe, all this stuff that's happening, it's really just about me. And
I think
that's that.
I think we're primates scurrying around vying for resources and mating rights.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
But to answer my question, would you bang a robot if she was really hot? Because you ducked that one before, man. You did what's called in boxing. What is it? Slipping.
Slip and
Yeah.
move, weave.
Tactfully ducking away from that.
Probably.
Compelling stuff, guys.
Let's see that.
So,
Let's see that robot.
What are we talking about?
Well, what are we talking about? Yeah.
Is it considered
Right on.
cheating?
Yeah,
If you bang a robot?
I know your wife wouldn't be happy.
Well, no, I know. I'm sure she would not be happy.
She might buy it and be like Josh. Josh is like, hey baby. She's like, go fuck that robot. Just get away from me. I've got a headache.
Just
It's been a long day.
Yeah, I'm
Just
tired.
keep it in the closet where I can't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to know.
There's a new room in the house. It's like, that's the robot's room.
That's the yeah.
I've got, no one else wants to see that thing, and apparently it's a lawn chair with like a lap, something you put on your lap, and virtual glasses. So.
Does robot have like personality, or is it just like? And if it does, do you just approach it and grab it, or do you like out of a force of habit sort of go through like a
now if it's
like
if
an
it's,
approach and
if
initiation?
it's IT,
like, yeah.
Now what makes it? You're gonna go in and it's gonna be like, I'm not fucking you. Like you're not.
It's like a mail order bride who's like really like obedient at first, and then next thing you've had it for like 2 months, and it's like,
yeah, it evolves, and it's like, no, I'm going to fuck your brother.
It's like,
you're
I'm
like,
not going
robot.
to do that today. No anal.
I gotta get the computer. I gotta reprogram.
What
this
kind of
thing.
robot do you think I am?
Gotta wipe the memory on this thing.
Yeah,
So,
reboot.
there's that. Okay, so speaking of technology, and yeah.
How long have we been doing this?
This is ridiculous.